Right, shalom, shalom. Yahweh Shem Al Shabrakatah. Salakia for that. Had a little interruption. Satan's trying to hinder the stream, right? So we're going to get back to, I'm going to finish this chapter. We off at verse 3, right? And the other video, you might have to stop watching at I believe it's the 40-minute mark, right? Because somehow the stream froze. So, Salakia. But I'm going to continue off on verse 3, right? Which it says, I put off into my tunic. How thus shall I be clothed with it? I washed unto my feet. How thus shall I defile it or corrupt? Because that word is chanap, tanap. In the Aramaic, the Hebrew is chanap, which means to corrupt, to defile, right? So that's what that means, right? Like I said, I gave examples. Yahweh Shai washing his feet, washing the feet of the disciples, right? The apostles, because that's what we're supposed to do, right? We're supposed to, right? We can't give you the truth if we are not, if we don't have the truth ourselves, or we're not teaching it, right? So we got to we're spiritually washing the elect's feet by first cleansing ourselves, right? And that comes with teaching the right thing, right? Studying, being properly built up, right? Not just picking up the book and, okay, I got the breakdowns, watching a couple of videos, right? And not all of the men in Israel are teachers, scribes, prophets, right? We all have a different part to play in this thing. Some will make good exhortation videos, right? There's some that are good at rebuke, and out the falsehood of these other camps, right? You may be good at the Greek or the Hebrew, right? We all have a part to play in this thing, right? As the body of Yahweh Shai, Hamashayak, right? Song of Solomon, verse 5 and 4. And eventually I'll edit the two videos and splice them together. So Salakia says, my beloved send out his hand from the hole, as in the hole of the door, because that word har just means let's look at it. Strong's H2356, which means cavity, socket, den, cave. Because that word har has different meanings, right? Har could mean white, bleached, noble. Other times it denotes a cave, right? A hole of a cave, or right. In this case, in what you got them in the hotel rooms where they got the peepholes, right? Because that's where the light comes out, right? Or you have a hole in a cave and you got light coming in that sense. And this is the Shulamite kind of putting right her finger on the peephole, right? And that represents the elect seeking the truth, right? Receiving a little bit at that light, seeing a little light, which is eventually the end, an end of a tunnel, like they say in the world, right? So this is why Solomon said that. He said, "My bowels were moved for him because, right, Yahweh Shai, right, the angels or the angels rejoice over one sinner that repenteth, right? So there's a rejoicing involved in the remnant seeking the word, right, receiving the understanding, which starts with, right, like the Shulamite putting, right, putting their hand by the hold of the door, right? Well, it says his hand. This is actually, right, it's talking about Solomon putting his hand by the hole of the door, right, and the Shulamite rejoicing, right? However you put it, right, which that's what it's talking about. But see, you can't. You got to see Solomon. What he was trying to explain was that there was someone putting their hand by the hole of the door, and this is why it says my bowels were moved for him, right? So it's not two hymns, right? Clearly, the Shulamite is putting, right, which is the beloved, and the bowels moving, right? Or Salakia, that is the Shulamite. So yeah, that just represents the remnant, right? Uh, Yahweh Shai supping with the remnant, right? So Solomon was putting his hand near the where you open the door, because he is the door, he is the shepherd, right? You can't go in no other way except through him, right? You can't have the understanding unless it's founded by the apostles, the foundation of the apostles, prophets, Yahweh Shai being the cornerstone, right? It's impossible. And that's the volume of the book, right? So it reads Tadia Shalach Yadwa Man Hahar Wa Maya Hamwa Al Yawa. Verse 5 reads, I rose I to open to my beloved, and my hands dropped with myrrh, and my fingers with myrrh uh, odorous, because that word I bar, right? Like I brought up earlier, you got these pit beef places. They sell their pit beef. They set up the grill in front of their store, so you can catch the whiff of that pit beef, right? So that's why the pit beef man sets up his grill in front of the pit beef store, lets that smoke kind of cross, because that's what bar means, to cross over. That's why you got Uber. That's Hebrew, right? For to travel, right? So that's why it says mawar, ibar, as in myrrh, odorous, as in a pleasant odor, upon the handles of the lock, right? Because Yahweh Shai has to sup with you, right? That's Solomon opening up the door for the Shulamite, right? Opening up the door, right? The Shulamite, um, right? Because when someone opens the door, You're there, you're present. So the Shulamite, right, is saying her hands dropped with myrrh, her fingers with myrrh, pleasant, with a pleasant odor upon the handles of the lock, right? That's symbolic for the elect receiving the truth. And ultimately the whole nation of Israel, right? Because it's pleasant, right? That's what draws us into the truth is what? Having the understanding, knowing, right, that we lost our heritage, knowing that right, getting a glimpse of the kingdom, it's exciting. But at the same time you have, like it says, I believe it's chapter 4, right? Or the book of Revelation, it's sweet and then it's bitter in your belly as soon as you eat it. But that's the point. What draws you in is the truth that has been lost and found, right? Only given to the remnant, right? The body of Howell Bashim Yahushai, right? For the understanding. Paul the Apostle called it a marvelous light, right? So you see it adds up if you understand the whole book. You understand all these things are spoken of, parables, similitudes, dark sentences. The book of Psalms, I believe it says, we shall utter parables that our fathers have known in times past to our children, which is not talking about literal children. It's talking about, right, Rabbi Abba Bivens, who received the truth, which is Elijah, and our elders and apostles of Great Millstone continued and labored in the word, which is turning the heart of the fathers into the children, meaning the book of Isaiah, chapter 14 says, strangers shall cleave unto the house of Jacob. That's talking about those that once had not the understanding or receiving the understanding, which is the remnant, and cleaving to Yahweh Bashim Yahushai, right? Cleaving to Yahweh Bashim Yahushai, and right, be diligent, right? Because that's the only way you're going to make it in this thing. Diligence, right? You're going to be able to discern the times, right? So on and so forth, right? So it reads, Kwamathya Anya Lapatach Wayadia Matapwa Mawar Wa Atazabai Daya Mawar Ibar Al Kapath Ha Mana'al. Verse 6, right? Which says, I opened to my beloved, open I to my beloved had Hamak. So let's look at that word. Strong's H2559, which says to wrap, to depart, to withdraw, to turn away. So it just means to turn away. Basically, it means to turn around, right? I bar and was gone, right? Passed over, right? What is this talking about? This is talking about 2/3 that will receive the understanding, right? They did not endure. They didn't count the cost, and they ultimately fell away, right? Because the Lord is not going to hand you, He's not going to hand you, we're not going to hand you everything, put it in your lap. Okay, this is the word. I'm going to look it up. We're not going to waste all that time. We don't have that type of time to waste, right? The videos, the lessons, they're all out there, right? So we're not going to hand you the breakdowns. They're out there already. So like I said in the previous video, you know, don't be a Hassad, right? Needing oil. You gotta have that oil, right? And that's if you're diligent, that's if you're right, praying, fasting, right? Solomon prayed for wisdom. The Lord gave it to him. This is why Yahweh Shai said, asking you shall receive, right? Asking you shall receive, right? And the Lord doesn't need a sinner, right? The Lord doesn't need right? Because it even says in the book of Matthew, right? Those that aren't diligent, they're gonna fall out. What you have shall even be taken away from you. That's what's gonna happen to you other camps. And we see it. We're witnessing that falling away, which happened back then, but it's happening now as well. The man of sin being revealed. Everything is lining up, right? Like I said, these are merely labor pains. This is not the final thing, right? This is not the right the last. Yahweh Shai said the end is not by and by, right? These are just labor pains. This is part of the Lord trying your faith, right? Because your faith is gonna be tried, and you're going to either endure or you're gonna fall out, right? Just like you got these scamdemic, right? These are all. This is one big social experiment bottled up into Psalms 83, right? This is just another phase of their right, which is on the left hand side. They're doing it, but this is the Lord separating the sheep from the goats, right? The elect being tried as gold in the fire, right? Which things are going to get worse. Things are not going to get better. This is not right. We're not going to la di da di da into the kingdom, right? So you can understand, right? So this is why it says, I opened to my beloved, but my beloved have withdrawn himself, right? Because 2/3, those of you that don't get it, you're going to fall out. Yahweh Shai is going to withdraw that understanding, right? Which is why it says, my soul failed. Which that word is for failed is yataza'ah. Taza'ah, the root word, it just means to go out, right? Like when you give up the spirit, right? When he spake, right? Like your heart's going to drop. That's what's going to happen when you false camps, when you see the elect being delivered, calling on Yahweh Bashim Yahushai, the water Yahweh Bashim Yahushai, we're gonna, we're gonna be in the chariots, Lord willing. But you 2/3, even you false pastors and you other camps, that you have a form of the truth, but deny the godliness of it thereof. It says in the book of St. Luke that you're gonna cry out, Lord, open unto us, meaning the chariots. And the Lord's gonna say, I knew you not from whence you were, you workers of iniquity. You shall be weeping and gnashing the teeth. right? Meaning those missiles are gonna hit, and you're gonna yo Benjamin Shai, right? And you're gonna all you're gonna see is the missiles, and that's it, because because you didn't teach the right thing, right? So it says, and like I said, you other camps are already waxing worse and worse with these wayward doctrines, right? This is why Great Millstone is this is why, right? They call Great Millstone the bump camp, right? Because they don't like reproof. They don't like the fact that, right, we're calling out your fallacies, right? And you took a bag, right? So it says, and I sought him and could not find him. And I called him and he gave me no answer. And he did not answer. And he did not answer me, right? This is why Paul the Apostle said, he said, there must be heresies to show those that are approved amongst you. So we need you false pastors, false teachers, scoffers, right? Because that further solidifies that we're telling the truth, right? So all these things, these are all distractions. Psalms 83, these are phases, these are wicked counsels, right? Psalms 83, you got the tabernacles of Edom, which is a so-called white man. You have the other nations, Ishmael, you got, right, which are the Arabs. You got Moab, the Chinese, Ammon, the Japanese, right? And you other nations secretly, you know we're going to be on top, and you know you're going to be all right, but you got to pay on this side, right? The Lord's judgment, right? 2/3, right? Even you Edomites, right? And we'll say it to your face, but that's not expedient. See, we're here to teach. We're not here to be stirred up. We're here to call back the remnant to righteousness, to Yahweh Bashim Yahushai, right? Satan wants us to react. This is all part of keeping your calm, and like it says in Sirach chapter 2, right? So, like I said, these are all phases. These are all, right, plots, wicked plots, right? This is a spiritual battle. If you don't understand that by now, because that's what the Lord is doing, He's trying to show you that this is a spiritual battle, right? And the Lord He's showing you, He's guiding you, right? So if you can't receive that, then you're not of the elect, right? And Paul the Apostle said, I say we get together for the not for the better, for the worse, right? For the worse. So it says, Patach Taya Anya La Dawadya Wa Dadia Hamak Ibar Apashia Ya Taza'a Ba Dabarwa Bakwash Tayawa Wa La'a Mataza'a Tayawa Quara'a Quara'ath Yawa Wa La'a Ein Ainaya, right? Verse 7 says watchmen that went about the city found me. They smote me, they wounded me. The keepers of the walls took away my veil from me. Because we read about watchmen in the previous chapters. You got those, the righteous watchmen, and then you got, like I said, those crept in unawares, right? That will make merchandise of the people, right? Turn the word of the Lord into a damn podcast like Sakari, you know. But yeah, they teach the charagma is the mark of the beast, but that's they don't have the whole truth. They're not doing the Lord's work in sincerity. All right. So it says, those that went out of the watchmen round about the city, round about upon the city, smote me, wounded me, lifting up unto my veil from upon me the keepers of the walls, right? Because you got supposed men that are supposed to keep watch over the flock, feed the flock, right? Instead, they're putting price tags on the flock, right? I'm gonna sell this one. You know, that's why it says in the book of Malachi that those that don't feed them, these sellouts, they prepare war against them, right? And that's what you saw happening back then. That's what you see in this with this Pharisee spirit and IUIC, right? Because those same men are back, right? Proud men, boastful men, not laboring in the words of Yahweh Bashim Yahushai, right, wholeheartedly, right? So it reads, Mataza'ah Naya, Ha Shamariam, Ha Sababiam, Ba Ayar, Ha Kanaya, Patazai Naya, Nasha'a Wa, Atha Rad Yadiyah, which that word Radiyad means veil, Ma'alya, Shamarya, Ha Hamath. Now that's not a super deep kind of verse because this is what the leaders did back then in Israel, the sellouts, kings of Judah, right? You had ancient men, ancient prophets, but you also had false prophets back then, right? So this is just talking about, right, these sellouts, what they did back then, right? Because that's defiling a woman. That's bringing shame upon her house, grabbing her, taking her veil, right? When you're supposed to be the keeper of the people, right? The error of the leaders, of our leaders back then, which are back today, right? So it's not super deep, right? This isn't, you know, verse 8 says, Salakia, I cause thee, I cause thee swear thou, O daughters of Jerusalem, if you find him unto my beloved, what shall it be told unto him? Sick of love am I, right? What does that mean? That's talking about, right, the remnant talking, trying to reach Jake, right? Trying to reach you so you can repent, seek Yahweh Bashim Yahushai, right? Return back to him, keep the laws to the best of your ability, call upon his name in the day of trouble, right? which is why it says that I am sick of love, because that's the message. That's the tone of the message. We're sick of this wicked society, right? We're sick of the wicked rulership. Which, if we leave America, Babylon the Great, that doesn't matter, because Esau rules the world basically. Because you got other doctrines that say, oh, come out of her means, okay, we're gonna go to the land of Israel, or this and that. But guess what? The same wicked person is still reigning over the earth, which is Esau Edom, right? And the nations as his damn flunkies. So that's the message. We're sick of love, right? That's what the Shulamite's saying, right? And that represents us crying to Yahweh Shai, Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai, right? So we complete our cause, which is why you read that in the book of St. Luke. The widow who returned and the unrighteous judge, right? Which is, right, symbolic of the Lord, because an unrighteous judge can do whatever the hell he wants because he's in that position, right? Which is just a parable. The Lord is not unrighteous. The Lord can't look upon iniquity, which is why he turned away from Yahweh Shai before he gave up, because Yahweh Shai had all the sins of Israel on him. See, these are things you got to pick up when you're watching the videos, right? Being edified right, when you're studying, when you're praying, right? So on and so forth, right? So that's what this precept means, right? That's what the Shulamite's saying, right? Which reads, Ha Shabai Thaya Atakam Banath Yerushalayim I'm Tha Mataza'a Wa Atha Dadya Ma Thagayadwa Lawa Shakalath Ahaba Anya. See, this is why you need to understand the volume of the book, because you're not going to understand if you just know, if you're in the law all day and night, or you're just reading the prophets, or you're just reading the proverbs, right? Songs of Solomon chapter 5 verse 9 says, how is your beloved more beloved, O fairest among women? How is your beloved more beloved? According to thus, kaka, that you cause us to swear, right? What is that talking about? That's talking about not showing the respect of persons, right? Like it says in the law, right? Because you got camps, because we're reaching all the tribes, right? You got particular camps that all they got is the Jake there. They got the Jake that looks just like Yahweh Shai, right? And that's all you see. You don't see the other tribes, right? Like IUIC. Basically, that's what IUIC does, right? Or other camps, right? But guess what? Israel, we're gonna look like other nations as well, because we took women of the other nations, so our children look like them, right? And the two northern and southern kingdom always had differences, right? But guess what? The true teachers, we're gonna teach you the correct doctrine, and you're going to receive it, right? You're not going to be fooled by these gimmicks, right? And that's what we're saying, right? This is what Solomon was saying to the Shulamite. Why is thy beloved more than another beloved, without fairest among women? Why is thy beloved more than another beloved, that thou dost charge us? Basically, Solomon was speaking to the Shulamite, and this is a dark sentence, right? And this is what you got these other camps. Basically, they're saying, oh, we're following Yahweh Shai, we got the name and we got the biggest camp, you know, but yet they want to show respect to persons. We don't do that. We show you Yahweh Shai, we the correct doctrine, the other tribes, right? So Solomon was talking to the Shulamite. Um, he was talking about himself because he's our beloved and we're his beloved, right? Which is why it says, "Why is thy beloved more than another beloved?" Because other tribes are beloved too. We're all brethren, right? Are we not all in captivity? Are we not all, right? Those that are vexed with the wicked ways of this society, right? And are hastening to the day of Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai. That's the mindset of the remnant. You see, it's for the day of the Lord to be hastened. So it reads Ma Dadka Madad Hayapa Ba Nashium Ma Dadka Madad Sha Kaka Ha Shabai Shabayath Nawa. Verse 10. And this is the good part. The header of this next part, the next half of the chapter is it reads the admiration by the bride, right? This is the good part. This is where Solomon essentially, the spirit jumped on him and he saw his future glory as Yahweh Shai, his future incarnation. He felt that power, right? However he saw it, it could have been a vision, it could have, right? It could have been the force was actually, right? He actually was turning like into Yahweh Shai, right? And then he turned back, right? But this is what John the Revelator saw. Yahweh Shai in his right? In this like they say in Dragon Ball Z, right? You got Frieza's final form, you got Super Saiyan 3 or whatnot, right? Which is why this is the good part, right? Verse 10 says, "My beloved glistens and is comely, a standard bearer a multitude, among multitudes, or my raid," which just means an innumerable number. right? Or a large number. It doesn't actually mean 10,000. Tazach, meaning uh doesn't literally mean to glisten. It just means like a reflection, right? Like a shiny new vehicle, right? It has that fresh paint. You see the reflection, right? You see the sun hitting it, right? So it just means reflection. Adam, of course, you know that means red, right? It means red. The Gaul standard bearer, right? This is what you read in the book of Revelation, right? Daniel 7 and 9, right? Thousands and thousands ministered upon him, right? Deuteronomy chapter 30, or I believe that's either 30, 32, or 33. Yahushai, the chariots, right? This is how you put together the puzzle, right? There are forefathers left in these magnificent writings. The original poets, the true poets, right? The greatest story uh, never sold, right? Because it wasn't to be sold, it was made to be told. See that? So it reads Dadia Tazach Wa Adawam Dagal Ma Rabah, right? An example of that is what is that? One of them the book of Revelation, it speaks about I forgot the type of crystal, but it was like reddish brown, right? That's how David looked, right? A dark skin tone with like a red skin tone to it, right? Verse 11 says, his head is like a wedge of pure gold. Katham, it just means wedge, right? Like a brick of gold. Paz means pure gold. His locks, there's that word quataza again, are bushy, thal, because remember that word tall, thal, the root word, it means a mound, right? So Solomon saw himself as Yahushai, right? He had his locks, but they were bushy, right? Black like the raven, Shacharath Ka Arab, which reads Ra'ashwa Katham Paz Quatazath Yawa Thalium Shacharath Ka Arab. His eyes are like doves, besides the rivers of waters washed in milk, placed upon its fullness, right? Because that's how Yahushua was described in Revelation 1 and 13. His eyes were red, right? He didn't have red eyes. That's just the energy coming out of his eyes, right? That's why Jake likes to drink that wine, likes to smoke that grass. Although that's going off because that's not expedient, right? But you're allowed to drink wine, right? Right? but you can't do it lest you forget the law, right? So it reads, Ayan Yawa Ka Yanayum Al Apyakya Mayum Rakatazath Bachalab Yashabath Al Mala'ath. Apyak, uh, it just means like a tube channel, right? Yapak is the root. I believe it means to produce, like something that is, right? Like a producer of a film. Right? You got the film and you got to put the film through the light, and there's a light that shines through it, the film like a tube, and right, that's what records the motion, right? So again, this is describing Yahushai, right? The spirit jumped on Solomon, right? He probably felt the energy surging. He probably let out a scream, ah, you know. So it says this, verse 13 says, his cheeks are like a rising of spices, because the word arrive means to ascend. Just another way to say like a bed of spices. Flowers, ma gadol, which just means tower, right? Because that's what plants and herbs and trees do. They look like towers. Plants, some of them, you got some plants that are large, right? Sweet, rakach, that actually means apothecary, right? Or a perfumist. It's another way to say sweet. Are his lips are like lilies, dropping with myrrh, odorous, right? As in a good odor, right? Which reads, L'chayawa ka aragath ha basham ma gadalath ma rakwachium shapath tayawa shashanyam atapath mar ibar. His hands are like rings golden, filled upon filled in beryl, right? Now Yahweh Shai, Jake, he loves his rings and chains and all that, but that's not what it's talking about. It's talking about the energy that was coming out Yahweh Shai, his hands. Solomon was looking, he was probably looking at his hands, and there was energy just flowing through his hands. Power, pure power, right? Which is why it says, set with beryl, right? Because it was probably like a gold energy and green energy, and because his garment was glowing, because he's got a green garment, you know. It says his loins bright, which that word Aishath, it just means like a slab, right? Plate, slab, something fabricated. His loins, you could just say overlaid with ivory, right? So he had like white trousers, or his loins were just glowing, you know. overlaid ma alapath. That word ilap just means to overlaid, to wrap around, right? So his loins were plated with ivory, wrapped around, sat with sapphires, right? Which it could actually be talking about his garment or just the energy, like white energy and sapphire color type of energy glowing, you know? And he was basically Solomon saw himself as Yahweh Shai kind of powering up, you know? Which it reads Yad Yawah, Gal Yal Ya, Zahab, Ma Malaayim, Batha, Batharash Yash, Ma Ayawa, Ashath, Shun, Ma Alapath, Sapiorium, sapphires. All right. Says his legs as pillars of marble, which that word shash means cotton as well, or not cotton, but yeah, actually, yeah. So it denotes that color. Marble, um, set, which this would actually mean just founded upon sockets, adanya, of pure gold, right? So he either had a golden garment or like I said, it's just the energy coming out of, you know, which is why it says his head has the most fine gold, right? He didn't have gold hair. He didn't turn into Sonic the Gold Hedgehog. He didn't turn into Super Saiyan. Could have been a crown. It could have been gold energy just coming emancipating him from around his head, right? He didn't turn into Supersonic, right? Says his countenance like Lebanon. Again, that's why, right when it says his hair white like wool, it could have been white or it could have been just the energy coming off of him, right? Because here it's described as black, right? So you got to have discernment when you read the scriptures. Excellent Bahar like the cedars, which reads Shakyawa Imadia Shash Mayasadium Al Adanya Paz Maraawa Ka Lebanon Bahar Ka Arazium, right? So that's what Solomon he got a taste of that future glory, right? Reads his verse 16 reads his palat all sweet and wholesome, uh, desirable. This is my beloved, and this is my companion, daughters of Jerusalem. Damn. So Solomon described himself as Yahweh Shai, right? You know, and he said, "This is it." He said, "This is my," in few words, "This is my final form," right? This is what's coming, right? So it reads Hakwa ma matakium wakalwa ma hamadium za tadia waza raya banath Yerushalayim. So with that, that's pretty much it. This is Songs of Solomon, chapter 5, going into the Hebrew. It's Brother Yatazadak here of Israel. And as always, Lord willing, you were edified, giving all honor and glory to Yahweh, Bashem, Yahweh Shai, Bashem Rakakwadash. Double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone. Kwame Yasha'Allah, Abad Babal. Sabbath day is Friday. We're in the month of Tabath, right? Tonight was the last night of Hanukkah, seventh day, right? Which is a correction from earlier from my previous videos. Yahweh Bashim Yal Shai Brakatham and Shalom Akim and you sincere Akwath. Shalom.